Hi, I'm Lauri, Alyssa's mom, and I am so excited to be part of the Raw Vegan Bundle this year. For the bundle, I created 23 recipes for my ebook called My Gentle Kitchen. So also welcome to my little kitchen. What I'm going to show you today is one of my favorite recipes from the ebook, and it's called Mangolicious Fritters. Yum! This recipe evolved because I gave up eating deep fried foods, used to eat apple fritters from the donut shop, so I wanted a healthy substitute. All you'll need for your creation is a medium-sized mixing bowl, a grater, or a small food processor, and some simple ingredients. So let's get started. The ingredients are 4 tablespoons of buckwheat groats. Now these I ground in a coffee grinder, and you can sprout your buckwheat groats in advance and then dehydrate them, but the groats you use must be dry. So you're going to grind 4 tablespoons in your coffee grinder. And I usually keep this jar in the fridge just to keep them fresh, because I use them in other recipes as well. And then your ground cashews, and again, use dried cashews and keep them in the fridge. 2, 3, 4. And then chopped apple. Now I used Golden Delicious, but any apple will do. You can peel the apple or use it unpeeled. So I just ground mine in my little food processor because it was handy today. You could use a grater, or you could even finely chop the apple by hand, your choice. But you want it a little bit juicy, and I'll show you why in a second. And then your mango. Oh, that was 3/4 of a cup of grated apple, or you can use, let me see, grated apple. Yeah. Lost my train of thought there for a second. 3/4 cup of chopped mango. Oh, I was going to say you can use another fruit if you don't have an apple handy. Just a finely chopped fruit that you like, even apricots. Anything goes. This recipe is very versatile. So your 3/4 cup chopped mango, use fresh or defrosted frozen mango. And I like to put a little bit of miso in my sweet recipes because that touch of umami flavor is so nice with desserts. So I'm not going to measure this, just guesstimate 1/4 teaspoon. Put that in. Make sure it's well mixed so you don't get too salty of a bite. Now 2 tablespoons date jam. Now this I made in advance, and the recipe is in the ebook. And the ingredients I'll give to you right now: 6 large soft dates, 1/2 cup water, 1/4 teaspoon apple cider vinegar or lemon juice. You're going to blend that till it's thick and creamy, and then you don't need the blender anymore for this part. You add 2 teaspoons of whole chia seeds and stir those in by hand. Keep this in the fridge for about a week to 10 days. That might be a little long. You don't want it to go moldy. So what I do is I put the rest in smaller containers, and I put it in the freezer. Freezer is my friend because I live alone and I don't want to waste food. So that's a little tip. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of this date jam to our recipe. Now I just want to say the reason that I made this for one of the ingredients, rather than using whole dates or chopped dates, is I thought I don't want to use the blender again because I want the fritters to be chunky. So that solved that issue. Next thing is you're going to stir in 3/4 of a teaspoon vanilla extract. I use the one in glycerin, not alcohol, but that's up to you. And then 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm going to use my 1/2 teaspoon because I should have measured the cinnamon first. It's sticky with the glycerin from the vanilla extract. So just heaping 1/2 teaspoon. As you can tell, I'm not really fussy about getting every measurement exact. I kind of cook with my intuition. That's it. That's all that goes into your mixing bowl. Now you're going to stir it well, and you'll see the buckwheat flour. And by the way, buckwheat doesn't contain any gluten. It's delicious, and I use it quite often. And it really does act very similar to wheat flour in recipes. So stir it well. Did I say don't add any water or liquid at this point? Because what happens is the juiciness of the fruit will moisten the buckwheat flour, and you'll get a nice batter, just like a cookie batter. I'm gonna use this now. Yeah, so stir it around. I'm gonna scoop all the buckwheat off the bottom of the mixing bowl. So you can see the consistency of that. Isn't that amazing? And believe it or not, these actually taste kind of deep fried. I like to say dried, not deep fried, because they're going to go in the dehydrator. Okay, there we go. Ready. Now this batch makes about 18 Mangolicious fritters, depending on how big you make them. I recommend a tablespoon per fritter. Oh, we've still got date jam on that. Oh, that's okay. We'll just add. So what you want to do is scoop. You can use a small ice cream scoop for this too, and put it on a Teflon sheet. You know, there we go. I have to improvise because I live in the tiniest kitchen in the world, but I love it. It works. So there we go. And you want to flatten them a little bit, like about 1/2 inch. And you don't have to leave space between, well, much space between your fritters, because these aren't going to spread at all. They're going to dry out on the surface. So old cookies that you used to make in the oven, I remember making space between the batters, but not necessary with a food dehydrator. So the kids love these. They can get their hands right in there, and the recipe is simple enough for the children. I'd say as young as maybe 3 or 4 they can get started. And I love to introduce my grandkids to healthy alternatives. And everybody loves mango, I think. I know I do. It's my favorite fruit. So, you're going to drop the tablespoonful size onto your Teflon sheet and flatten them slightly. What else do I want to tell you? Again, you can substitute the fruit. I haven't tried these with banana. I would chop the bananas, not extremely ripe, but just a few spots on the skin would work, and use that to replace the mango. You could add raisins. I mean, the possibilities are endless, but you're going to get fritters. It's amazing the way they taste when they're done. Okay, I can fit a few more on here. What do we got? I think I made these a little larger than I usually do. Now, if you're concerned about the fat content, because of the cashews, I recommend eating only 3 of these per serving. If you get 18, 3 per person, so that's 6 servings. And that'll keep your fat grams below 10%. I checked that on Chronometer. Yeah, so here we go. Now these are going into the dehydrator at 115 degrees or less to keep the enzymes alive, and they'll be in there for 4 hours. You want the tops dried, and then you're going to turn them over after 4 hours, and you're going to put them on a mesh sheet. So you're going to flip them, and the bottom's going to be sticky. So they're going to go back into the food dehydrator for another 3 to 4 hours. And the idea is to get the outside all around dried up like a cookie in the oven, and the inside is still moist from the mango and the apple, and it's just delicious. So there, that's that. Let me see. Another tip is these are really good served right from the dehydrator. So they're warm and comfort food for me. Like I said, my freezer is my friend. So I put the leftovers of these in my freezer at the very back, or else I would have probably eaten all 18 in 1 or 2 days. So whatever works, right? Another thing is when you store them in the fridge, and I'd recommend about 3 days, just so they're fresh and tasty. When you pull them out again, they're going to be a little bit sticky just from being in the fridge in a covered container. So you can put them back on a mesh tray in your food dehydrator for about an hour or so, just so they can warm up and dry out a bit. And I don't think they need a sauce or a dip. I have another recipe in my ebook, My Gentle Kitchen, and it's called Hot Asian Apps. And it's the same idea with the buckwheat flour, but they're hot, they're spicy. You can kick up the spice if you want. Now with those, I did make a dipping sauce, so I just thought it needed it. But with these, they're really sweet and delicious just as they are. So I have a plate of some finished ones. Now these are smaller than I recommended, like the tablespoon. I think these were only about 2 teaspoons. And I had these in the fridge for a couple of days. They're a little bit sticky, but not too bad on the bottom, mostly because I had them in a container covered, and the bottom got stickier than the top. So they're good like that, or I would probably put them in the dehydrator for about another hour if I wanted something really cozy. What else can I tell you? I created 23 recipes for my Gentle Kitchen ebook in the bundle, and there are 2 more recipes that I submitted for the bundle's group collection ebook, and it's all appetizers. And the 2 that I submitted to that are spring pate and dragon's breath mocktail. So I hope you get a chance to try those 2. I've tried many of the recipes from the bundle, and they're all amazing. I've made 10 so far. Oh, the hot Asian apps I mentioned, those are in my own recipe book, My Gentle Kitchen. But everything is fantastic. I've read several of the ebooks, and like I said, I've tried many of the recipes. I have a whole list of more to try over the summer. My daughter Melissa, her Raw Food Romance, her wraps are incredible. I've got some in my dehydrator right now, and they make great lunches for picnics if you're going out. I mean, they're portable, they're so nutritious, and her book is called Hand Salads. So it's like eating a salad, but with your hands. You don't need a fork. They're so portable, and they're delicious. I tried 2 of them from the book already. So I recommend everybody's recipes. We're all a little different, and some are spicy, some are not. I prefer to lower the spice a little bit, as I do with sugary things. So when I'm trying something, I'll go with the flow and just measure half the spices or half the sugar. These aren't really sweet. They are lovely just with the fruit and a little bit of the date jam. So I hope I covered everything for this recipe for you, and that you'll try it and get the kids involved and share it with your family and friends. Something healthy, and yeah, dried, not fried. So till the next recipe, bon appetit. Thanks for